So hello everyone, I finally managed to make a stream. I don't know when the last time I have streamed, but I had like shitload of work, so finally I am here. So today I will be doing Stalker. It is this guy, so let me quickly duplicate him and show you up close. So this is this guy, and yeah, basically it's like an enemy that is vanishing and just reappearing from thin air. And the last time I have done this skeleton, it was a corpse skeleton, I believe, axe corpse, or corpse axe, I guess. And yeah, I don't really have that much time today, so I guess I will try to make everything a bit quicker than usual, but we will see how it will turn out to be. And also, I finally managed to use a reference that I always wanted to use, but I never like had an opportunity to do so. For this guy, I have no idea who he is, but once I found this photo on the web, and I feel it fits really perfectly, especially with like this weird looking collarbones and pectoral muscles and everything. So I feel this really gives me like a really nice idea on how I want this guy to look like. And also, as always, if anyone has any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask. If anyone wants to share artwork, also please do on the chat. And I guess everything should be fine. So for this one, I kind of want to go with this like creepy looking hunched like silhouette type of a pose, where he really looks like he's like trying to be extra sneaky. And I really like the fact that he has this like huge belly, so kind of reminded me of like this beer belly, or like a herniated belly, like the belly with a hernia. So I really feel it should work. So he's like kind of thin, like he's fat but really really ripped in the same sense. And also I really like the fact that his legs are like really long, so that he is like standing on them, but they are like slightly bent, and it kind of looks like his legs are like extremely long. Like if he were to stand up like really straight, I can imagine him being like really tall. So I kind of also wanted to take this in note. And also his feet are extremely long, which kind of fits like the Stalker idea. So I kind of wanted to give him like this a bit more like a creepy looking feet. Let me change the brush. Let me change the perspective on this guys a bit. So I want like the middle finger to be like extra long. And yeah, that's pretty much all for this guy. As I said, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I will gladly respond to everything. And from different things, I have seen Mortal Kombat, the new movie, and it was kind of weird, to be honest. Like, it was kind of cool because it was like cheesy as hell. It was extremely cheesy. I don't think I have seen a cheesier movie like ever. Like, it was like the total cheese fest. But I feel if you don't really have any expectations whatsoever about the movie, then then it should be completely fine. Photoshop is acting again. I want to transform this leg. Like, if you don't really have any expectations whatsoever from the movie, and you just want to like watch a movie that is kind of like cool looking. Oh, hello, Xirtam. Foundation. Oh, I have no idea. I am on a 9gag. If you have a post, you can send me it. It would be cool. And thanks. I'm really glad you like it. But coming back to Mortal Kombat, if you really want to like watch a cheesy movie that is just cool to watch, Mortal Kombat will be a perfect fit. Like, I enjoyed it. but it was like a cheese fest. I'm from Poland. It's like the central part of Europe, or like sometimes some people say it's like a Western Europe or Eastern Europe. That really depends on like the on the definition, but usually I would say it's like more a central one. French, nice. I don't know many people from France. What city, if I may ask? Nice. Yeah, I mean, like I know quite a lot of folks from different countries, but I guess from France, I know like two or three maybe, something like that. Thanks, coffee. It's like not the haircut. I like evaded the. I am actively evading the barber. So yeah, I'm not sure what I want to do with my hair. So now they are just like simply growing, and my GF is kind of mad about it because I don't want to go to do anything with my hair. But there's a coronavirus, so I don't want to risk it. I simply need to like be safe. I cannot go to the hair salon now. So at least this is a really nice explanations to avoid going to the hair salon. Yeah, an afro would be kind of cool to have. Like I only once in my lifetime, like I have seen a guy with an afro, and to be honest, it looks spectacular. And he was hiding everything in it. Like he showed me how many pens and pencils and rubbers and everything he could like fit inside his hair, and it was like completely invisible. So it was kind of funny to watch him do it. This cool looking muscle in here. I really want the belly to kind of like go over the silhouette. And I really like, as I said, those like weird looking pectoral muscles with this like deep crease between them. And for the face, what is kind of funny, this guy also really nicely fits to the face of this like monster. Not insulting anyone, but I feel like this pose when like the blood flows into your face and when all the wrinkles appear because you're like looking down, I really feel it gives a lot to this pose. And I kind of want this monster from the face to be like creep, like a really creepy looking guy. So I feel like giving him like really uneven amount of teeth would really nicely work. Like bringing the nose a bit more to the top. And I kind of feel like giving him an eyes like Basilisk. Like Basilisk from Dark Souls had would really like make him justice. Since it's like a stalker, like the funny part, if anyone was playing Dark Souls, these are not the eyes, these are the eyes. These are like the orbs that are, I don't know, pretend to be eyes or something like this, but this is kind of funny that it has its eyes like below here. So I found it really interesting from like the design standpoint. So for example, if you are designing like a monster and you want it to like be a little bit more on the fake side, then I feel it is like a really nice idea because everybody will go like to stab the eyes and you might think you have defeated the monster, but you did not. Like you only like destroyed some like weird looking orbs that are maybe toxic or something like this. And I kind of feel like I'm giving like this huge looking eyes. Will make him look cool. Or maybe... mm, I also feel like maybe eyes like pugs do have will work nicely. So something like this when he is not kind of like looking at you directly, but it has this like weird features on the face. It also now with the eyes kind of looks like one of the aliens from like a really dumb Polish cartoon that I really like. Maybe later I will find the name of the alien. But yeah, I guess it will work with this guy pretty nicely. I feel like the head in here could be like a bit smaller to have like this weird looking proportion when the higher you go, the smaller the things are. So I feel it should work with this one pretty nicely. Maybe the face should go a little bit more like in here. So there will be a little bit more of the back. And on the stomach I want this hernia things to happen, so it will look kinda like creepy. And for this one I also want him to have like a really short muscle bellies. So for example the calves will look like really weird because you will have like this really long bottom part of a calf and then there will be like this huge belly of the muscle on it. This feet should be a bit longer. And after everything is more or less done, let's warp him a bit. I guess I want this leg to be a bit longer. So I want like his thighs to be like really also long. So it like benefit to this like creepy factor that this guy is supposed to have. And also I feel like the top part is kinda disappearing. Oh yeah, I guess something like this should work. Maybe like a really long tendons and like a really short bicep will also look kind of weird and cool. So he will have like mostly these weird shapes happening in here. What's really cool about monsters like this, you can like really play with the anatomy. Like you don't really have to like be extremely strict about it. So like the areas like arms, forearms and everything can look a bit off. And they will, or they should still look like okay. And boom. And the claw, the fourth claw. Kind of feel like the belly should be bigger. I kind of want him to have like this flaps of like skin hanging off him. It's always a thing that, in my opinion, looked kind of like creepy. Like every time when someone who was like really obese and they decided to like work out, and then you have like this leftover of a skin, the stretched part of a screen of a skin. In my opinion, it always looked like really weird. As far as I know, it's relatively easy to remove because it's just like an excess, so you just cut it out and it should work nicely. But as a detail for like a monster, I also think this is a thing that can be a nice addition. or at least can be a nice thing to have in certain monsters. Maybe the head should be bigger. Yeah, something like this happens, works. So like this monster is kind of like hiding his head inside his body. It kind of fits to the, even to its name, like the Stalker, the fact that he's stalking people. But yeah, let me reduce the opacity and let me draw him nicely now. This is a Stalker. It's like the, let me maybe find another shot of him. Diablo 1 Stalker. Maybe there is a different Diablo 1 hidden. There is the drawing from the old Diablo book. This is the hidden. This one is the hidden. It's like the version, a different version of this guy. And in games they had this like really cool ass animation. This is basically how they look like. They are like this fishy, alieny type of a thingy, as far as I can see, but I don't really like the fishy part of it. I feel it should be like more disgusting instead of like more fishy. So it looks like this. It has this like huge ass on him, which is kind of funny. Hello, Phantom. Yeah, I'm fine. I have like to be honest, a fuckload of work to do, and like I should be working right now and everything, but I felt like I have not been streaming for a really long time at the moment, like currently, so I felt like I really should stream a bit, because I felt like I started abandoning the YouTube channel a bit, and I don't want to abandon it, or like the live streams and everything. So I felt like even though I have like a lot of things to do, I will try to be consistent with the streams and everything. That's right. Yeah, I mean, it sorta is. Also, let me. I mean, it sorta is a really cool part also about the eyes, because I want to give him like the non-typical pupil for it, for him to have. The cool part that I found out about the eyes is like, for example, a goat eye, or I guess the goats also have this type of an eye. They are like horizontal, so they see more in like a horizon, like in the horizontal line. But when they rotate their head, the eye rotates with it, so they always like contain exactly the same vision, so they always see the same thing. The rotation of the head do not really matter that much. And I feel for someone who is like a stalker, like giving him this like horizontal type of a pupil should be a good idea. So this way, since it's living like underground, it's not living like in the outside world. So this way, like he really can put his eyes in use. So he will be able to see like really like wide. He will be able to see like everything underground. And the huge eye and a huge pupil basically means that uh, that he will like gather a lot of light to it, so he will see even better. And if he can see like really well, then I can imagine him being a stalker should like really work into his favor. So yeah, basically the more you know. This is also one of the reasons why I really suggest to everyone to watch like a Discovery Channel or National Geographic from time to time, especially if you're like working, because you can like discover stuff like this. And then you have like a justified pick for your design. So you are not like just designing for the sake of it looking cool, but you can like explain why this design look the way it looks. And also recently in my work, I have been like doing quite a lot of things about the character design and everything. So it's really nice to finally make like a character that I want to make instead of the one that is like ordered. So yeah. Yeah, and since also this monster is not like the apex predator, I don't want him to be like the one who is like stalking on a prey and it's killing it. For this one, I kind of want him to be a little bit more like a stalker. Basically, he like follows you and everything, so he won't have like this this really aggressive look to him, I would say. I want him more to be like the curious, disgusting type of a monster. So if he were to like kill something and eat it, then he will most likely like just munch on it for like a really long period of time. So I feel like giving him this blunt teeth would also like work with his character pretty nicely. So this way the different like types of these monsters, because there are 4 of them. There are the hidden, the stalker, the something one, I guess. I don't remember, let me check quickly. Hidden, Diablo 1. There are hidden, stalker, unseen, and illusion waver. So I would say the stalker should be disgusting. Hidden basically should be hidden, like he don't want to like appear at anyone. Unseen kind of fits like just by the name to me, to be like the type that is like more predatory, that is kind of aggressive one. And the illusion waver, I guess, can also be like the predator type of a creature. So there will be like 2 predatory types and 2 like non-predatory types, I guess, with these guys. And the eyes for these guys can like really be a nice part of their like general design. Oh, maybe also doing something way more creepier will be better. There is this stuff. The poster from Tool. This will be much better as eyes for these guys. It will be creepy as hell. So you will basically have like a huge eyeball with like a different irises inside of them. So it could like even be like several eyeballs together, just like being inside of a membrane or something like this. Blech, this is disgusting. Yeah, well, I am going with this one. So basically he has like different eyes inside this spherical thing that will pop, and now he can like really look at everything at the same time. So it's more like monstery instead of like naturey type of an explanation. And it really gives this like creepy ass vibe to him. Yeah. You speak with yourself. Sometimes, to be honest, when I'm designing something, I like to bounce off the things from like I like to bounce off the thoughts from myself, so I maybe not necessarily talk a lot when I am drawing, but I am having this like internal type of a discussion. But since I am live streaming right now, once when I was like reading a tutorial on how to be entertaining while live streaming, so basically it won't be boring for someone to just sit and watch how I draw. Then I usually talk, and also this way I can explain a bit what I'm thinking about when I'm designing something. So it also can be a little bit more educational for someone. So yeah, the basic idea is this way I can pretty much explain what I am thinking while I am working. But as far as I know, actually many artists do talk to themselves when they are like working. A lot of artists make sounds when they are drawing or painting. I also do. Like when I, for example, am drawing a skeleton. I hope I won't be drawing a skeleton for like a really long period of time now. But if I'm like painting something that is metally or like bony or like something that would make some sort of a sound, I also would make those sounds. So it kind of allows me to go like to immerse myself a little bit better. It's like a cool thing to do. Usually I'm listening to some sort of a music and just like trying to like, sing along. This is also like the way that I really like to work. But sometimes I just make some weird like random noises. Recently I discovered that, okay, maybe not discovered, I rediscovered that I prefer again to have a little bit more of like a background noise when I am working. So I don't feel like now working in a complete silence. So yeah, so usually also when I am like doing some sort of a job, a friend of mine is like streaming to me because he is like playing Path of Exile, and to basically get rid of the will to play some games, I just like watch from time to time how he plays the game. So this way I kind of feel like I am playing. So this way I don't have like this huge ass urge to play some games. Because now, as I said, unfortunately I cannot like allow myself to play any games. Like for next like 2 or 3 months, I guess I will be like in a full like working mode, I guess. But it's fun. Like I mean, it's definitely like a cool job, so I don't have a problem with it. But I have to work. It's better to actually have work instead of not having a work. And also what is really cool when you're like working as an artist is that basically you're doing what you like to do. You develop your skills that you want to develop, and you also get paid for it, which is also a really cool addition to like everything. So yeah. Yeah, this herniated thing looks terrifying. It's basically the intestines, like the oh my god, the stomach and everything, like protruding from the torn abdominal muscles, I guess, or between the like ligaments on the abdominal muscles and everything. So if you are like not really prepared for lifting something really really heavy and you will do anyway, and like the thing will tear, then you will get like a hernia. I forgot how the tubes are called. The holy shit. The places where the shit is intestines? Intestines, okay. I thought the intestines are everything that you have inside of you. not only like the part, the tubey part. Oh, the more you know. Yeah, and for a monster like this, like I could, and I probably should, like just make a hint of like the abdominal wall on his stomach, because even though it is extremely distorted, I can imagine still like the separate abdominal muscles to be there. So it will be like really distorted, it will be like really destroyed. But I guess like giving just a hint that the six pack is there is a nice thing to do. And a good idea after like you finish drawing something like this is to select it and then like warp it. So this way, if you warp it, it will get a little bit more bloaty. And if you like warp the middle part, so basically you will, from something like this, you will make something like this. Then the texture will like wrap a little bit nicer around the forms that you are drawing. Thanks, Drevin bro. I'm really glad you like it and that you enjoy it. Yeah, maybe they will like one day make a remake of Diablo 1, because now like they did a Diablo 2 Resurrected. So maybe they will do Diablo 1 and then I will be like, hey, I have every single monster done in here, please hire me. So maybe I will be able to work on Diablo 1. It will be extremely fucking cool, to be honest. Like, it will be like once it will be like a really cool thing to happen, especially since I have like been playing this game for like forever and I always really liked it. But it will be like basically a small dream coming true to be able to work on Diablo 1. I kinda missed the mark with Diablo 4 with like my current skill set. I still think it's a bit too like really too low to actually work on Diablo 4. But Diablo 2 also is past me at the moment since they already did like the remaster. So maybe on Diablo 1 I will be able to work. They will. I hope they will. Especially since the genre, like, kinda I believe is like regrowing again. Like nothing really too interesting happened in the world of hack and slashes. So now with Diablo 4, like the Path of Exile 2 and everything, the genre is kinda like getting resurrected basically, as the Diablo says. I need a leg. David Brevik, he always talking to people. I'm not sure if I know the guy. Like, the name sounds familiar a bit. Maybe I have seen his artworks like back in the days or something like this, but yeah. For the live streams, to be honest, at the moment I'm only watching like Psycho Ghost and Nino and other players that are streaming Hunt Showdown, because like the only game that I was basically playing right now besides chess, recently I started playing chess because it's fun, it's the Hunt Showdown. And since, as I said, I'm not really in a position to play at the moment, I like mostly watch how people play it. So for live streams, I prefer to watch games. Hello, Ricardo. Padierne Silvera. Nice. I always enjoyed these long names. I'm glad you like it. I always wondered if you have like 4 or like 3 or 4 names, because as far as I know, it's like 3 names are nothing too really that crazy. But like if you have like a really huge amount of names, like how many of them you put in like your IDs, your documents and everything? Like could you like put every single name if you want to be on your ID or whatever like this? It would be kind of cool if you could have like this huge plastic plate with like every single name listed. Yeah, for a moment I have not been drawing knees and I already forgot how they look like. Damn the knees. So basically bony landmark. Also a cool tactic if you want to like draw something like, let's say, legs or whatever, and you kinda have this problem of like overdrawing all the muscles and everything for a really long period of time. I had this problem that I wanted to draw every single muscle, like every single striation and everything, is to actually draw every single striation that you can imagine, and then like basically just go with like the eraser over it. So the lines will still be there, but not everything will be like so really visible. So for example, in here I have drawn this tibia bone, but now I can like erase on it. So there will be like a hint of what is going on in here, but nothing too crazy, nothing too visible. Yeah, so everything connecting in here. I don't necessarily think if I want the quads to really show up on this guy. Like this is also one of the problems of like drawing the monsters that are basically naked. It's like you have to draw all the anatomy and everything, and my anatomy skills, I would say, are decent. It's nothing too crazy, but then it really becomes problematic really quickly. I'm not saying it's bad because like I have to do stuff that is hard to actually improve on the craft, but yeah, drawing a monster that has clothes on it is much simpler. Of course, you need to design. Usually, you need to design some clothing and everything, but at the same time, you don't really need to worry about the anatomy that much. Also, with these guys, I could go on like a really simple tactics because these are like the Stalker and the Unseen and the Hidden and everything. Basically, like draw them while vanishing. I guess with one of them I would do exactly just this. Like I want to show that he is able to vanish because they have like this cool animation of like blah blah. It goes like with the S shape transformation on them. So I guess at some point I would like to like draw or try to draw this type of stuff. It definitely will be a challenge. So, but at the same time, I could go more with like the VFX effect of him disappearing, or more of it disappearing, instead of like with all the anatomy. So on the legs, long as claws. So for the legs, I guess I would like him to have like this really long and unkept nails. So it will kinda look like he do not really take care of his like feet and everything. Whoops. And I want the middle finger to definitely like be the longest one. So he will have like this raptory bladey shape on it. And some sort of like a thing in here. So basically kinda it looks like a claw with like this huge ass middle finger. I think it looks kinda neat. Whoops. Also, designing feet and hands is like one of the hardest parts, I would say, in the entire monster to actually draw or design, because the shape of feet and hands usually is so weird. Like, this is the thing that I have always been saying, like to draw a feet nicely is extremely hard thing to do. Even if you know how to draw them, even if you draw them correctly, even if everything is fine and dandy, it still looks weird. This is like just the shape that tends to look odd if you are drawing something. Like finger, a bone, and the feet, and the finger, and the bone. And some tendons. You can also imagine this guy being like really vascular, like having a lot of different like veins all over him. I think it's also a detail that could be really easily incorporated to him. So for example, in here he could have like this long as vein. Let me search for some sort of a reference for veins. There is this guy, Nick Walker, I guess. Oh yeah, there is a bodybuilder with the name of Nick Walker, and this guy, like, apart from like the crazy looking muscles, he has like some really weird, like, creepy shit going on with like the veins on his legs. I guess if you're like this huge, it's kind of normal to have like a huge vascularity, but he took this thing to another level. Like, it really looks like kind of crazy. So I feel like having this, especially all this like dangling veins on his legs, kind of looking like worms under the skin, is like a really cool thing to do. And actually, as far as I know, this guy, this Nick Walker, will soon have like his pro debut or something like this. Because I'm like semi-following all the names and everything, since I find bodybuilding kind of interesting. Since you can like learn a lot about the anatomy if you're like just watching this buff dudes like flexing and everything. So it's really a nice thing to do if you want to improve your knowledge on anatomy. Also, the veins give you like a really cool thing to like break up all the shapes that you have in here that you have drawn. So for example, if you have like a really visible like muscle definition and you don't really want to get rid of it, but you kind of want to break up the visibility, like the definition, veins are there to really help you. Because if you have a vein, I can imagine you can get a bit of like fat around veins, and the skin will stretch a bit more there, so it will like naturally soften everything that is happening in here. So as you can see, like this leg is already having like much more interesting things happening on it. And sometimes you will get this like weird looking veins that are like U-shaped, like as he has in here. It looks really like weird. But I guess everything can be utilized somehow in design. So not necessarily if you see something like this it should be like forgotten. As you can see, everything can be used to create something a little bit more creepy. So if I were not listening to Tool, maybe I wouldn't know about the cover, maybe I wouldn't think about like giving him like this eyes inside of eyes type of a thingies. And just because like I'm listening to Tool, just because of this I know what I can do with it, because I remember the image. I remembered the image. Which kind of proves the fact, as I said, that you can find inspiration pretty much everywhere. Also for the things like vines, I always wondered if there's like a scheme in a human body that the vines turn to like grow into, because I feel like there are some like, I guess the arteries and the main veins, or however to call it, I'm not a specialist with the naming, that always or almost always grow the same way. But I wonder if, for example, like the veins on the forearm, is there like a rule to them like growing somehow? Because like you almost always will have like this huge bicep vein, this stuff happening in here. I'm gonna put like this S shape. So yeah, now the hardest part to draw. I guess I will like split this guy to two parts. So on one today I will finish like the drawing, and on the next one I will like finish, or maybe I will finish the renderer, start another drawing. Most likely in the next week I will have much more time to work on everything. Or maybe on Wednesday I will like make a stream with Diablo instead of like the drawing basics, because it's a bit easier for me to make those streams at the moment. I'm going to let it go. Around something like this, more or less. Like, to be honest, after like drawing is the hard part, the rendering, the adding colors and textures and like adding some light to it, I guess it's much easier. So I guess something around those lines. I wanted to keep it much simpler at the beginning when I just started doing this like challenge or something like this. If you can, basically it's a challenge. But with time I felt like the urge to make it a bit more complex in terms of for the drawings. So I guess on some monsters that I'm really willing to do, that I like really want to make, the finish will be like higher, and gradually it will like increase the quality of the overall challenge. So for example, if I had like 10 hours today to like work on this guy, I will gladly do so, but I don't. So if I had 10 hours to draw this guy, then most likely I would like increase the general level of finish for every piece, because once I do, then the next piece I will feel like is really, it's like not holding to the quality, and it kind of forces me to like increase the general quality of painting, of drawings and everything. So it's really hard to tell. Usually it's also quite hard to decide when you finished something. For me, a really nice explanation when can I say that I finished something is when I don't really feel like anything more needs to be done, because of course I could like sit and polish now this face for like 10 hours and I would not be like finished with it because there's always something that you can add. But if I feel that I achieved what I wanted, then I guess I'm ready to leave the piece as it is. For this guy, I don't really even think if I want to give him like the proper kind of hands, let's say a proper hands. I kind of like the idea of the hands being like distorted heavily. It's most likely me being just lazy and not willing to like put my time into drawing hands. Most likely this is like the reason. But I feel like I would like to make something that is like hand. For example, instead of like having a normal hand where you would have like fingers, these are two fingers and this thing in here, maybe I would go with something that is a bit more like this, and there's a claw, and then you have like this two really long ass fingers, or like one shorter finger, like two really long ass fingers, like this extremely long claw, maybe something like this. I guess at least at the moment it kind of looks more like the thing on the right. But I don't necessarily think this is like a bad thing to do. It is kind of lazy of me for doing something like this, but at the same time it kind of justifies itself, so I'm fine with it. Especially since I kind of want to test some solutions for these guys. Also, a thing that is, I believe, really often overlooked with all the monsters is the fact that most likely there will be much more likely to get underdeveloped parts. So sometimes you have like this, I don't know how to call it, how to even call it, like a mutation or something like this, where, for example, an entire arm does not develop in a human. So you get like this short thingy that looks like pretty much, yeah, like basically unfinished arm. But with monsters, I feel more of them could benefit from having like this, like really not developed parts. In the end, it's not something that is like natural per se, that is intended to happen in a nature. So pretty much everything that does not look natural per se, so it's not intended, tends to look creepy for us and tend to look scary, because most of people, like vast majority of people, are afraid of things they don't know that are different. So as a designers, as an illustrators, artists and everything, we really can like take advantage of stuff like this. I remember once, yeah, hands are hard. Like, I mean, they are, the logic behind hands is extremely simple. Like, it's not really that hard to draw a hand. The problem is with the subtleties in the movement and sometimes the perspective and the foreshortening. Like drawing a hand in like this type of a pose, doing something like this is relatively easy, but still can be tricky. But drawing hand like this can be like extremely creepy, like not creepy, extremely tricky, because the foreshortening is just weird, and it kind of requires this like additional understanding of volume and perspective to be able to pull out something like this from a drawing. And a lot of people don't like have this like geometrical, like they don't understand the geometry that much, because vast majority of the times you will be drawing like a hand in this type of a position where hand does something like this, or when you have like a grab something like this type of a hand. And after drawing them like 50 million times, you can kind of get used to it. But I have only seen a really good drawing of hands done by the people who actually understand the geometry and everything. So then the design on the hands can like really shine. So even for stuff like this, I want to use some reference because there will be a tendon in here. So yeah. I kind of think I could have done more with the design of like the claws and everything, but I want to give him like the most basic claws first. Maybe like the second monster of this type will actually have it. And I guess even though I won't finish this one most likely on the stream because I only have like 30 minutes left of my free time to draw him, so I guess it will be like enough to actually finish the line art nicely. Even though I guess I will randomize the next one because I'm really curious what I would have to draw. I have no idea how many times I have used this reference already on this live stream, but like this is like the eternal reference for me to use for this hammer curl arm position type of a thingy. It really nicely shows the biceps and everything. So yeah. And this is like my go-to reference for vast majority of the things. Even though the angle did not really fit that much, I guess it kind of gives me the idea, especially on this area, because like the bicep has this like teardropy shape, like you have this teardrop in here and then this like higher up teardrop in here, and these are like connected with the tendons and everything, and there's like the tendon in here, and this shit is like wrapping around in here, so I wanted to get like this area a bit more right. But again, I don't want him to be like really like shredded. It's not like the shredded type of a monster. I want this guy to be a little bit more veiny, like more disgusting type of a guy. The cannonball shoulders. Yeah, so basically... No, by accident I gave him 5 fingers in here on the top part, and he has 6 fingers on his right arm and 5 fingers on his left. It is a total accident. As you can see, accidents happen. But these are also the things, even though it was an accident, these are the things that sometimes will like give your painting this interest point, I would say. So someone might not really know what really looks cool for him in or her in a painting, and it turns out the monster has like more fingers that you intended. I don't really like the face. Kind of feel like I'm missing this disgusting part of it. Maybe I will give him like 4 nostrils, because like demons can have 4 nostrils. Something like this. If you are also not sure about the face or something like this, just sketch it out. I feel maybe he should have like this longer type of a thing. Maybe with like this. Like larval looking thick tongue. Have like this, kinda look like this huge leech. It's not necessarily in the original design. I don't know how I really feel about it. But I think it kind of takes away from the eyes. Personally, I think if you're going for like a really strong facial feature, I would say the eyes are his strong point. Then you should like leave only one like facial feature that is kind of like weird looking. Maybe giving him kind of more like an insectoid type of a jaw will be like a cool idea. Yeah, but I kind of wanted to give him like this insectoid type of a look, because on the reference you can clearly see like the eyes are really huge, and also there is this like official drawing of them. I don't know if you have seen it. Within Diablo 1 there's like this official art from, I have no idea what type of a book. Like it has to be old because it is drawn in this old looking style, and this guy kind of looks like he's vibing and that he's dropping some really hot like lines underground. So yeah, basically, and in here he kind of looks like a sea monster, but I don't really feel like the sea monster fits to them. I feel more insectoid like type of a thing is better. Especially since I feel like the insects and everything are a little bit more disgusting and are a little bit closer to the idea of being hidden and basically like hiding in the shadows than fish. Like I don't necessarily think there are many monsters in Diablo 1 that fit to the fishy visual type of a language. Maybe the vipers do, like the red vipers, golden viper, and everything, since, but they are still more like segments and insectoidy. Like I would place them more as an insects instead of like the water devils or something like this. So maybe this monster like also munches on the rocks and everything. Maybe he likes it. Maybe in his free time he is like roaming underground and like scratching the ground and like eating rocks and digging tunnels to like hide inside them. So like this is the reason why they have like this strong jaw. Facial vein type of thingy. Yeah, I like it a bit more now. It's nothing too crazy that I wouldn't say I love it, but it definitely convinces me more. So now the thing that I want to do is to work on the line weight. So pretty basic stuff. Basically, if something is over something, it should be a bit thicker. So yeah, line weight is always a great thing to add. To be honest, I believe I have seen the original art like twice in my life. Like twice also with the today, because I have seen it like really back in the days, but only now when I like typed it in the Google, I found it like again. So yeah, the original Diablo art one, the original Diablo 1 art, yeah, is not really nice, to be honest. It has this like vibe to it, but the drawings that are in the manuals and everything are pretty mediocre. But recently a friend of mine, Naimul, found the original Diablo 1 sketches, and boy, they were like, ooh, they were crazy good. So it was kind of nice to find them. Maybe I will even found them quickly too. Yeah, because it was on Behance, I believe. Yeah. There are quite a lot of stuff on Behance that is Diablo 1, or that appears as Diablo. Diablo on Behance. I don't think I will be able to find it. I will try to search for it for the next stream. But I really dug. I don't know if this is like the past term of digging. I really dug. Then I was really digging the way the original Diablo was drawn. And also Naimo told me there is like this thingy, and that most likely Diablo in Diablo 1 did not have tail. I don't know if it's true or not, because there were some problems to animate it properly. So I have no idea if it's true, but if it is, then sometimes it's nice how like the design of a main monster can change because of the technological like limitations and everything. And as far as I know, also if you are like designing monsters for like games and everything, sometimes you just need to like work on with like a certain restrictions to the design. So for example, you cannot make a dragon with 6 legs because the engine only understands the creatures with 4 legs and stuff like this. Also Feng Zhu, I believe, who's talking about this topic in some of his videos, which is really cool, really interesting, because if I am going to design something, I prefer much more for it to have like the explanations for everything, or at least for vast majority of the things that I'm going to include in it. So for example, I could explain why this guy has 6 fingers on his arm. Not necessarily is like really needed for the design to work, because it can look cool, just you can just like roll with it and just accept it as a fact. But for me, it kind of adds a lot more depth to the design. So like if you make a design of anything and you can explain to someone why it looks like it looks like, in my opinion, the design is richer. So there's an idea backing it up, and it kind of also forces the fact that it kind of eliminates the possibility of the design just being cool, because if you think about the design and if you try to design to a spec, then of course you might not like meet the spec. You might make something that just do not look nice, but you still tried to make a design to a certain spec. So you maybe along the entire journey made a mistake somewhere, like you just rolled with something that is not necessarily the best pick. But in my opinion, if you made it consciously, so you made a conscious decision, even it was a bad one, it's still okay. Like, I much more prefer but a conscious decision instead of like the lucky shot that will create a piece. Sometimes it's okay, of course, to like have a lucky shot, to have a lucky guess on how something should look like, but you shouldn't really rely on luck. Like, of course, designing something like to a spec with some problems will be much harder, but after like doing 10 bad designs, most likely you will understand where you are making a mistake and you will choose the better thing for your design to happen. Also, for the technical aspect, as you can see, I'm doing the line weight on a separate layer because I'm not necessarily sure if I, for example, on this hand want to include like the darker layer on the like external part that is out there, or if I want to include the darker layer underneath it, so in here. But I guess I will take both, since the claws really support, they kind of overlap each other too much, and they kind of need like this double outline for line weight to read nicely. So even if you can see for something so like basic like this, if I turn off the line weight, it kind of takes away a lot of like the readability. In my opinion, it just looks cooler with the line weight included. So let me connect it now. And on this stage also I'm not adding like a lot of this cross-hatching and everything, because currently I don't really know where I want the cross-hatch to appear. After like I put on the colors and everything, then I will be able to like decide where I want the crosshatch to appear. By crosshatch I mean like the lines like this and everything, darken certain areas, because now I am not entirely sure where I am going with it. Yeah, so this is pretty much the entire drawing done. I guess I will only block like the main shape of it. So I will basically just block the main color for this guy, and then I will call it a day for today. And I will finish him on Wednesday, since I have not been streaming on Wednesday for a really long period of time. And for blocking colors, maybe today the technique that I really like to use will work. I only need to close the gap in here and in here. Maybe today is the day where it's going to work. I really like the way the feet look like, especially this one. If anything cool happened on the stream today, it is this feet and these eyes. I really liked it, these eyes. They do the justice for this guy. Yeah, the entire thing is full of holes, so let's make it manually then. Or maybe let's see if I turn on the sketch. Maybe then it will allow me to remove some parts. Some of them do get removed, but not much. And it does not really give me that much, so yeah. one day I will manage to like make a line art that will be perfectly closed, or maybe one day the Photoshop will like make a filter that will like close the line art for you. It would actually be a really cool filter. So this way I could like focus on filling the silhouette. Also, this is one of the things I have like mentioned many times already that I really like to do after like I finish a job. So if I have to draw like, I don't know, 10 designs or something like this, and then I have to like still have to work, but I don't really feel like designing anything anymore, then I will just like sit and do this like dirty work of just blocking the shapes, because it requires zero mental capabilities to do so. It is just boring, I would say. Here there should be a bicep, and I am missing the entire line in here for like the bicep. And this way I can like put a bit more work throughout the day, and like prepare something that I know is boring, because if I have to like start a working day with blocking shapes, I will be pissed for the entire day, because I enjoy doing it, but I only enjoy doing it when I'm tired, or only when I really need to. And blocking shapes is a really nice thing to have, because it kinda forces the painting to be non-translucent, so there's no way the background will affect your painting anyhow. So this is like one of the things that I really like about it. And the second part is you can see how the silhouette of your design works, because if you are like looking at something only through the prism of lines, it might be a bit harder sometimes to understand, because we as humans tend to look at things via shape instead of like the outline, and the shape really tells a lot of the story about the design. So if you have like the interesting shape, like the harder part of a work is done, which is a really good thing to know. So kind of put it in words, to put it visually as a proof. For example, in, let's say, like in here, well, in Disney characters, as you can see, if the silhouette is strong enough, if the design is like really strong, then it does not really matter what's inside of it. Like, I don't remember what the Pinocchio has inside of him, like what the colors are, or like pretty much how the stripes on this cat are drawn, or what type of a thing is the Donald Duck has or a Mickey Mouse has. But if the design is strong, if the silhouette is strong, then the design most likely also will be strong. So also one of the things that I really keep in mind, or try to keep in mind while I am designing stuff, or even while doing stuff like this, is trying to keep the silhouette interesting. And there are like many different tricks how you can like keep it interesting. Of course, the fact that I know it does not mean I am like I know how to apply this knowledge like perfectly, but I'm trying to like constantly to do so. And soon after I finish the shape blocking, I will show you what I think about the silhouette. Now I also kind of have the urge to like finish this guy today, but I can't. I still have to deliver quite a lot of things for clients. So yeah. It's also kind of funny that as an artist, you basically take a break from work, which is like drawing and making paintings. And while you are on a break, you are making drawings and paintings. Like, this is kind of what I really love about like this job, because even though sometimes the things that I have to do professionally are not easy, they basically are just hard, it still allows me to develop nicely as a person, as an artist, and everything, which is really cool and really fulfilling, because I like knowing that I am developing my skills. And if I would have a job that I feel would basically like leave my skill set at the same level for like a longer period of time, I would be really pissed to have a job like this. So I kind of feel the same about art, in a sense. If I were to work in a place where I am not challenged by the tasks that I am given, I wouldn't enjoy working there pretty much at all. It's one of the things that I always really liked, is to have like a really solid challenge. And in the work currently where I am working at, unfortunately I cannot tell much more about it. I am constantly challenged with new stuff and with a really like non-usual type of a thing. So it's something that most likely I will never like do on my own, or even think about doing on my own, which is really cool, which is nice because I can develop. And also, even though sometimes, like for last month, I have been doing stuff that are not really related to those type of thingies. Like, I mean, I also have done things like this, but quite a lot of different things that are more related to graphic design instead of like painting or drawing. I can feel how different skill set translates to different like places. So designing some, like for example, logotypes or icons, or like pretty much whatever that is a little bit more like graphic-y, can really nicely translate into your skills of like drawing and painting. So if anyone is wondering if it's okay, for example, if you want to be a concept artist and everything, to work on a typography and logo design and everything, I would say definitely it's worth it, because in the end it's this almost the same things. Instead, in here I do not design a logo, in here I design a monster, but it still needs to be visually appealing, it needs to have interesting shapes, it needs to read nicely. Like, the core rules are pretty much the same, just the product is a bit different and the proportions of the elements is different. So if, for example, one of you gets a commission that is really weird, I would say take it. It's always an experience. Yeah, overcoming a piece that is challenging is basically like defeating a Dark Souls boss. It's the same feeling. The worst part is after like finishing an artwork that was like a nightmare to finish, that was extremely fucking hard. And when you are like extremely proud of it, then you look at it after a week or so, and boom, it's not good anymore. So because the expectation bar rose really higher after finishing a piece like this. And it's also one of the things that is really depressing for many artists, because yeah, how is that you made something that is cool and all of a sudden after a week it's not cool anymore? You have to push a bit further with your skills. Okay, I will only take like this color. I will incorporate it in the clause. Basically for colors, for this guy I kind of want him to be like almost one-to-one, because I really dig the color scheme on this one. I especially dig the color scheme on the hidden one because it's like this silvery, fleshy, fishy something. So the silver will be definitely a cool thing to paint. And this fleshy pink is also a tone that I really like. Also, I think that kinda sucks, but on the other hand, it's really cool when you make something, you're really proud of it, you send it to your client, and he is like, nah, everything is wrong, please remake this, and that. And in the end, you have to agree with him, because if the client is like knowledgeable, and I'm lucky to have like the clients that know what they want, or like most of the time, then it's like, okay, it's time to completely change the way I think, which is also cool. This is also a nice thing to have. Yeah, but I also really like, as I said many times, I don't usually give like a lot of fucks about if I succeed with a painting or don't. If I do it for the client, then I of course do like care if the painting is good or not. But I guess over the years of drawing and painting, I managed to like train a skill in myself that kind of allows me to accept the fact that not every painting that I'm going to make is going to be perfect or even good. And since I like unraveled the skill, painting became like much more enjoyable because I'm no longer stressing about like drawing and painting that much. Back in the days I used to like constantly stress over making good paintings and everything. Like, to put it simply, if I made a painting that got like 100 likes, well, I have to make a painting that will get 110 likes. And when I really try to do so, the painting gets like 5 likes. And then the painting that I don't really like get like 1000 likes. And this is also one of the things where you should like appreciate if you get likes, if like other likes your artwork, because it's motivating, at least it is for me, but you shouldn't demand it. So like actually my best artworks are the ones that I thought are okay, it is like a cool painting, but I don't think it's my best one, and boom, it explodes and it's your best painting. And actually my best paintings that I could say are best paintings because I like felt doing them was just cool, and also they were like really nicely received by the audience, were the ones where I simply like spent much more time on them and where I tried to actively like develop the skills. I don't think this will be like the final color for the eyes, but it will have to do at the beginning for starters. Kinda wish to like render this guy a bit more than usual because of the eyes. The eyes really like, speak to me. Yeah, so basically for today, this will be all. I will finish this guy on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Wednesday, I guess, in terms of a render. I feel it's really similar to actually this one. I don't really think that much needed to be changed. So yeah, yeah, but the cool part is the better you are, the easier it is to enjoy, because at the moment I know even if I have a bad day, I am still able to produce something that is decent. So it's not that I will stumble upon a problem that I don't know how to solve, more or less. Like I have the general idea how to, like, where the problem is and how to solve it, and it should look cool. But yeah, and this is for today. I guess rendering it would take me like an hour and a half, so longer and longer time needed to finish every stream. But yeah, this is pretty much all. Thanks to anyone who like turned in. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Subscribe, like, share, whatever, donate. Draw your ore monsters. It will be really cool to see. Like, maybe I will draw this in your style on Instagram with this guy if I finish him. And yeah, that's pretty much all. And thanks for watching, and have a good day or night. And see ya to the next time.